All right, everyone. Today we are going to do a quick lesson on Photoshop. So I want you to open up your Photoshop and you're going to start a new file that is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to inches here. And we're going to go to 11 inches on the width, 8.5, and 300 on the resolution. And we're going to name it last name, first initial, watering hole. And once that comes up, you're going to have basically what is a sheet of paper sideways. And from there, you're going to go ahead and go to the Mr. G folder. In the Photos archive, you're going to find a folder called Animals. And in there, you're going to find a picture by itself called Rhino. Get that rhino and drag it and drop it in here. And you'll see that it is really tiny. But all you have to do is just go ahead and resize it so that it's larger and it fills up most of the page. I don't know why it's so small, but whatever. Easy fix. All right, so now that it fits the whole page, before I go ahead and, my goodness, before I go ahead and push the accept button here, I'm going to right click and flip horizontal because I want them going the other way in this direction here. Okay, so I don't need to rasterize it. I don't need to do anything to it because this is basically going to be my template. We are doing a typographical image here, which means we're going to create something out of letters or words. So we might as well start. I'm going to go ahead and push on the type tool here. And with the type tool chosen, I'm going to go ahead and click. There we go. All right, here we go. Now that I've clicked and it's got you can see the cursor here, I'm going to switch to Show Card Gothic, which is a standard font, and it's on all versions of Photoshop. So here, go click on that, and I'm going to change the font to where it's nice and big, somewhere around 130. And I'm going to type a capital R. So now there's my capital R. And now, once I've got it in that position here, I'm going to go ahead and do Control T, and I'm going to make it larger, so it kind of fits along with the rest of the rhinoceros. Now, as you can tell, what we're going to do is we're going to do RHINO, and we're going to create a rhinoceros out of letters. All right, so now that I've done this, the next thing I need to do is go over here and rasterize the type. To rasterize it, all I have to do is right click in the blue part of the thumbnail and rasterize type. Now, if you'll notice, it doesn't have the T in here anymore, which means it's not type anymore. Now it's an actual shape. Once it's a shape, you can Control T, right click, and we're going to choose warp for this. The reason I like warp is because you can just bend it and mold it any which way you need to make it fit the shape that you're laying it over. Now in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up a little bit, bring this leg down, and we have pretty much make it fit the shape of the rhino. Now, if you want to see it a little bit better, I'm going to click OK. If you want to see it a little bit better, you can come to the opacity. Just click on the word opacity and drag to the left, and you can see how close you are there. And that's a pretty good job. Now, here's the problem, or not the problem. This is what makes it just a little bit difficult. The next letter is an H. And when I go and type the letter H, and I kind of put it in place here, you'll notice it's on a different layer. And that's okay. We want him to be able to be moved around. rasterize type, Control T, right click and warp. Now I've got all the tools that I need to make this kind of fit so it looks like at the end what is a rhinoceros. Now the H was easy. Now the I, I'm just going to burn through it real quick. Now look at this I. Yeah, I'm kind of lucky with that the I fell there because it's right where the leg is and the I is nice and straight. All I have to do is kind of make that I fit where it looks like a leg and still goes up to the back. And the N, I suggest you fast forward through this part if it's taking too long. Pull this down to about right here, rasterize. And this time warp again. Now we have the other leg down here. And the N is basically in place. And then the last one, of course, we move that N over a bit, just a bit. Of course, the last letter in our beautiful little African rhinoceros here is O. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this O kind of on its side, or a little bit pointing down in the other direction. Maybe I should go this way. Oh, there we go. You know what? I'm going to go back here so that the O ends up right where the I is, right about there. Okay, so now I need to rasterize it and start molding it. Control T, right click and warp. And of course, you've got to make that O kind of the same shape as an actual rhinoceros head. All right, now it's time to introduce another tool that we haven't used before, and that is the smudge tool. Okay, so right here underneath the gradient tool, you've got a group of tools that has the blur tool, kind of like a teardrop looking thing, a sharpen tool, and of course the smudge tool, which is what we're going to use today. The smudge tool uses something like a paintbrush, and that paintbrush, what it does, right now we're working on the O, so we're in the O layer. Let me zoom in so you can see what it does. What it does is it basically smudges. The smudge tool takes whatever you're working on and smudges. And it'll not only smudge something outwards, you can also smudge something inwards. Now I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller to do the other horn, the rhinoceros. There we go. And of course, if you want to do the mouth, make it look like he's got a mouth right there, that's fine too. All right, so now when we're done, you should have something that looks reasonably like a rhinoceros if you turn off the picture. If you don't, well, you can go back and tweak it a little bit. This is going to be, by the way, due by tomorrow. And if you'll notice here, I have got, actually, there we go. Let me choose blue. You can use a paintbrush to give it a little tail. It helps if I used a good paintbrush. Sorry about that. Give it a little tail. I don't know what kind of tails rhinoceri have, but there you go. All right, so now that is lesson 1. After you're finished with your rhinoceros, I'm going to send another lesson and another video so that you can go ahead and finish that. If there are any questions, of course, you can always email me or here at oscar.gonzalez@visd.net, and I will gladly help you out. All right, so this I want you to send me as a JPEG, and when you send it, go ahead and make sure you turn off the actual picture so that I can see just your artwork. In this email that I'm sending, it's going to have both this video and this picture of the rhino so that you don't have to go hunting for your own rhino. All right, hope to see your work soon.